Emily and Jonathan Harper were the epitome of marital bliss. To the outside world, they were the perfect couple. Jonathan was a successful corporate lawyer, and Emily was an acclaimed interior designer. They lived in a charming suburban house, hosted extravagant dinner parties, and were the envy of their friends and neighbours. However, beneath this polished exterior lay a tangled web of secrets and lies that neither dared to confront. Emily's life wasn't as perfect as it seemed. Despite her outward success, she felt a gnawing emptiness that her marriage to Jonathan couldn't fill. Emily had been having an affair with a man named Michael, a brooding artist she had met at an art gallery a year ago. Michael's intensity and passion offered a stark contrast to the sterile perfection of her life with Jonathan. Emily would often meet Michael in the afternoons, claiming to be working on a client's project. They would rendezvous in his loft, surrounded by canvases and the scent of oil paint, where Emily felt truly alive for the first time in years. Jonathan, too, was not the faithful husband he appeared to be. His high-powered job required long hours and frequent travel, which provided ample opportunity for infidelity. For the past 6 months, he had been seeing a young paralegal named Laura. Their affair began innocuously enough, with late nights working together on a particularly challenging case. But soon, professional boundaries blurred, and Jonathan found himself drawn to Laura's youthful exuberance and ambition. Jonathan's affair with Laura was a stark contrast to his life with Emily. With Laura, he could shed the weight of his responsibilities and indulge in the excitement of a forbidden romance. They would meet in discreet hotels, away from the prying eyes of colleagues and friends, where Jonathan could escape the pressures of his meticulously crafted life. The Harpers' separate deceptions might have continued indefinitely had it not been for an unexpected turn of events. One evening, Emily and Jonathan were invited to a charity gala. Emily, ever the social butterfly, was in her element, mingling with the elite of their social circle. Jonathan, on the other hand, was preoccupied, his thoughts lingering on Laura. As the evening wore on, Emily excused herself to the restroom, where she unexpectedly encountered Laura, who had attended the gala as a guest of one of Jonathan's colleagues. The two women exchanged pleasantries, unaware of their shared connection through Jonathan. It wasn't until later, when Emily saw Jonathan and Laura sharing a fleeting, familiar glance, that suspicion began to gnaw at her. Emily's mind raced with the possibilities. Could Jonathan be involved with Laura? The thought both horrified and intrigued her. Determined to uncover the truth, she began to observe Jonathan more closely, noting his late nights and frequent absences. She even went so far as to follow him one evening, watching from a distance as he met Laura at a chic downtown restaurant. Meanwhile, Jonathan had begun to notice a change in Emily. She seemed distracted, often lost in thought, and he couldn't shake the feeling that she was hiding something. His own guilt over his affair with Laura only heightened his paranoia. One afternoon he decided to follow Emily, driven by a nagging suspicion that she was not as faithful as she appeared. Stalking Emily led him to an upscale art gallery, where he watched in stunned disbelief as Emily greeted Michael with a passionate kiss. The sight shattered the illusion of their perfect marriage, but it also offered Jonathan a strange sense of relief. They were both living double lives, both deceiving each other. In the days that followed, the tension between them grew unbearable. Neither dared to confront the other, each afraid of what such a confrontation might reveal. Instead, they continued their charade, pretending that everything was as it should be, all the while knowing that their perfect facade was on the brink of collapse. The breaking point came one evening when Emily, driven by jealousy and a desperate need for the truth, confronted Jonathan about his relationship with Laura. Her voice trembled with a mixture of anger and hurt as she demanded to know how long he had been seeing her. Jonathan, caught off guard, struggled to find the words. He realized that there was no point in denying it any longer. He confessed, detailing his affair with Laura and the reasons behind it. He spoke of the emptiness he felt, the pressure of maintaining their perfect image, and how Laura had offered him an escape. Emily listened in stunned silence, her own guilt gnawing at her. When Jonathan finished, she confessed her own affair with Michael, explaining how he had reignited a passion within her that had long been dormant. As the words spilled out, she felt a strange sense of liberation, as if a weight had been lifted from her shoulders. The revelations left Emily and Jonathan at a crossroads. Their carefully constructed lives lay in tatters, and they faced a choice: to try and salvage their marriage, or to part ways and pursue the separate lives they had been secretly living. They spent the next few days in a state of emotional turmoil, each wrestling with their thoughts and feelings. Emily sought solace in Michael's arms, while Jonathan confided in Laura. Both found temporary comfort, but the unresolved tension between them remained a constant presence. One evening, after a particularly heated argument, Emily and Jonathan sat in their living room, the silence between them heavy with unspoken words. Jonathan broke the silence, his voice tinged with a mix of sorrow and resolve. "Emily, we can't go on like this. We've been lying to each other and to ourselves for too long. I think we need to decide what we really want." Emily nodded, her eyes brimming with tears. "I know, Jonathan. But what do we do? Do we try to fix this? Or do we let go?" Jonathan took a deep breath, weighing his words carefully. "I think we need to be honest with ourselves. Do we still love each other, or are we just afraid of what it means to let go of this life we've built?" Their conversation marked a turning point. Over the next few weeks, Emily and Jonathan embarked on a painful journey of self-reflection. They sought counselling, both individually and as a couple, hoping to untangle the web of emotions and motivations that had led them to this point. During their sessions, they confronted their fears, desires, and regrets. They acknowledged the ways in which they had both contributed to the breakdown of their marriage. Slowly, they began to understand that their double lives had been a symptom of deeper issues, ones that could not be resolved overnight. Emily found herself questioning her relationship with Michael. While he had brought excitement and passion into her life, she realized that their affair was built on a foundation of deception. She began to see that what she truly craved was not just passion, but a genuine connection, one that could only be built on honesty and trust. Jonathan too grappled with his feelings for Laura. He recognized that his attraction to her was rooted in a desire to escape the pressures of his life, rather than a deep, meaningful connection. As he confronted his own vulnerabilities, he began to see the importance of rebuilding trust and intimacy with Emily. In their final counselling session, Emily and Jonathan faced the ultimate question: could they rebuild their marriage, or was it time to let go? Jonathan spoke first, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "Emily, I know we've both made mistakes, and we've hurt each other deeply, but I still believe there's something worth saving here. I want to try and rebuild what we've lost, to create something real and honest." Emily looked into Jonathan's eyes, seeing the sincerity and hope within them. She took a deep breath, her heart pounding in her chest. "Jonathan, I feel the same way. I want to let go of the lies and build a life that's true to who we are. It won't be easy, but I'm willing to try if you are." With a renewed sense of purpose, Emily and Jonathan set out to rebuild their marriage. They ended their affairs, choosing to focus on healing and reconnecting with each other. They made a pact to be honest, no matter how difficult the truth might be. Their journey was fraught with challenges, but they faced them together, determined to create a marriage based on genuine love and trust. They rediscovered the joy of shared moments, the comfort of companionship, and the strength that comes from facing adversity as a united front. Emily continued her work as an interior designer, but now she drew inspiration from her own life, creating spaces that reflected authenticity and warmth. Jonathan, too, found a new sense of balance, learning to navigate the demands of his career without losing sight of what truly mattered. As months turned into years, Emily and Jonathan Harper became a living testament to the power of resilience and forgiveness. Their marriage, once a facade of perfection, now stood as a symbol of the strength that comes from embracing one's imperfections and striving for genuine connection. Their friends and neighbours noticed the change, often commenting on how the Harpers seemed happier and more in sync than ever before. Little did they know the journey of self-discovery and redemption that had brought them to this point. Emily and Jonathan knew that their double lives had almost destroyed them, but in facing the truth and choosing to rebuild, they had discovered a deeper, more meaningful bond. Their perfect facade was gone, replaced by a marriage that was far from perfect, but infinitely more real. In the end, it was this authenticity that made their love truly unbreakable.